Okay, in this video we're going to make explosions, and we're going to make them a little bit different based on what the bullet hits. For the purposes of simplicity, I've backed this left wall up to 0 in the x-axis, but we can move it back out when we're done. So that we know what we're hitting, let's tag a few things. Let's tag all these walls as walls. So if you've already got a tag called walls, then set it. But if not, then add the tag here, and just click on add and add the new tag. And then you'll have to go back to it after that and then drag down the walls. It doesn't automatically add it for you. And then for your bullet, add a tag called bullet. Now you can see in my list I've already got something called bullet LNR, but I'm going to call it T-bullet and use that tag. And then, like I said, you have to go back and actually select it. And in my case, also, you want to apply it to the prefab so that all of the created bullets will end up with that tag. Now let's go to a script, an explosion script for these bullets, so that when they hit something, we can find out. So bullet explosion. So when they hit something, we can find out what it hit and react accordingly. All right. At the moment, we don't care about these. We want on collision enter, like that. And then in there we test the collision, the thing it collided with, to see what it is. Now these strings have to match your tags exactly. And mine didn't. I needed an S on there. Let me jump back to this real quick before we finish the script. You're going to have to hit apply to apply this script to all the rest of the bullets. So I've set up a point of collision and the actual explosion force, which just has a force from a float that we set. The point of collision, that's this. And then a 4, which is just a radius. So it's how much other things it affects in that area. Now, if you do it this way, it ends up kind of fun. If it hits a wall, it does nothing, as we expected. But if it hits another bullet, it really kind of booms there. So actually, if you get a bunch of bullets here, every time any bullet hits any other bullet, there's an explosion at that position. So if you get enough bullets out here, there's just enough natural explosions that it just kind of keeps going. It's a chain reaction. So if you want to prevent that, then add an explosion count and decrement it and check to make sure it's greater than 0 every time you encounter something that counts, something that explodes. And you can see the very different behavior. There are still some explosions, but then they start piling up, having not exploding with each other every time. Okay, so in order to test out these next explosions, let's create a bunch of these bullets and then save them down. So to do that, go into play mode and then shoot off like 100 bullets. And once you've got them all over here in the hierarchy, shift select all of them, copy them, stop run, create empty, reset that, and then paste them, and then drag them in there. So call this bullet pit. Now the explosions become much more interesting if you select all of these and set the mass from 1 to 0.1. Then boom. And do the same for your prefab. And apply it. And then pick one of these and make it a different material and give it a different name, target. And we're going to add a tag called target. And then we'll go back to that and set that to the tag. And then back in your script, do something a little different. Make another condition for the target. And if explosion count's greater than 2, which means it's the first, it's immediately out of your turret, then set it to a much larger bullet explosion force and a much larger radius. A general improvement we need to make is removing the minus minus from explosion count, and if it's greater than 0, then explosion count minus minus. Another correction, I said to set your bullet sphere to 0.1 as well, but if you're going to do that, you should lower the turret bullet speed to 100. So I'll do that. Yeah, that's better. And the next thing we want to do is make the player actually move when use Newton's laws of motion to equal an opposite reaction, move in the other direction. Okay, so I've just learned a few things, so there's going to be a few tweaks. First of all, put the target over on the left wall and go find it, and then remove its rigid body and remove its script that explodes things. Meanwhile, on your player anchor, add a rigid body and freeze its rotation in all axes and its position in the z-axis. Then in the turret script, add a public transform player anchor and add this code here, which will add the equal and opposite reaction explosion, or force. It's not an explosion in this case. And then drag your player anchor right down here. And then in your bullet, in the bullet explosion script, add this code to see that if it's a target and it's the first hit, then do a debug log score and then add the explosion force to the get component rigid body. That's the actual rigid body of the bullet, so it'll blow it out of the way. Now, that's not done, but when you see this working, that's all the mechanics pretty much I wanted to show you. But let me show it to you in action, and then there's some more stuff. Okay, so if I shoot and I land on the wall, there's a score down in the bottom corner. That worked. And actually, it seems to just disappear. That's because the explosion is so large. But also, you can see that our player goes flying around depending on what happens. Like if he hits another bullet here, then it explodes and he goes shooting off into the distance. So that's the mechanics of the explosions and everything I wanted to show you. However, there are a few things that I'll show you in the next video about making this a little bit more balanced and interesting. So thanks for watching this video, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this, and leave me comments with topics of other videos that you want to see. Thank you for watching.